So this is Kaely. I wanted to go and do this with her because I know so many people. We've had so many virtual assistants. We've had, it's not earbuds, it's something on her end calling because Kira had the same thing yesterday, but I don't know what Kira did. So earbuds will probably make it worse. Um, but yeah, everyone was like, well, I want to know what Keely, like what she's doing and all that stuff. And I know too, you had some like experience prior to coming in. And did you make some investments too before?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think you did. So do you want to kind of like tell everyone just a little bit of background about you, your family, and like how you got introduced to like the VA world?
Yeah, so currently I'm on vacation right now, so that's why my background looks funny. I am originally from Kansas, but I live in Tennessee right now. I started doing VA work part-time in 2017-ish, kind of to help pay for my wedding and just do some extra work on the side.
Mhm.
I had my first baby in 2020, so I went completely full time at that point, like right before the pandemic started. Um, I started with cookiers, like cookie artists,
Mhm.
a lot of smaller client things before kind of investing in myself. I did a program where like they teach you how to make your portfolio and everything, and um, worked really hard at that. Like applied for everything, kept trying to reach out to people, would grow to the point of being booked out, but then would get overwhelmed and have to start, turning people away or getting rid of clients just so I wasn't so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then you and I had met, it was a couple years ago because we had messages when I reached out this past
I
year.
know. I was like, oh wow, it's so weird. Like you talk to so many people, you like kind of you're like, oh wait, I remember that person now.
Yeah, I had gotten rid of all my clients last year because I was pregnant with my third baby and just not keeping
Mhm.
up with anything and was starting to stress out about starting back up again and having to do all that again, applying to all those positions again and just trying to figure out how to get my feet back under me. So that's when you and I reconnected and I kind of just ran with it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the, I mean, obviously I know like, kind of like starting all over again and all of that, but what made it different like this time, like where, because you did get clients before and things, but what was the like turning point of like, okay, I actually need to like hire someone for help this time?
Well, I had clients and gotten to that point of being overwhelmed and kept getting rid of the clients, and I knew that something had to change. Like there was a
Yeah.
reason why I couldn't go further than I had already gone, and there was a
Yeah.
reason why I kept going backwards. And clearly what I was doing wasn't working, so I needed someone else to be like, here's what you're doing wrong, and
Yeah.
kind of help me get into that right mindset of moving forward and making it to the point where whenever I decide to have baby number four, that I don't have to start all over and quit and just get rid of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have no income and then having the stress of like
Yeah.
starting all over again. And so what with the clients that you had before, because it sounds like you had a lot, was your main thing just like you had too many clients, they were on like smaller packages, or like what did your business structure like look like at that point?
Well, my hourly rate was way too low anyway for my experience that I had and the work that I was doing. But I didn't have that confidence in myself to ask them for more. So
Yeah.
then I would just keep adding on clients and then the kids would get sick or something and none of my clients understood like, oh hey, I have to take my kid to the doctor. I'm not on call for you 24/7. And I didn't have those boundaries set. So I was constantly fighting between family life and work life and trying to keep my clients happy because I felt like I was constantly having to be like, okay, give me 5 minutes and I'll get that done for you. And then taking my computer everywhere with me. I would keep me every
Ugh.
to make sure that I was working right. And it just
Oh.
would become so overwhelming and I'd feel like I was being a bad pool and I'd be on my computer.
Yeah.
And it just came to the point where I'd be like, okay, well, I don't really want to do this anymore. So I'd start getting rid of clients and start pushing them out and being like, my family life is more important. And so having that balance has really helped a ton with that.
Yeah, I can't even imagine just because that's what a lot of, I mean, comment yes that this is you guys, but that's why a lot of us started a business is like so I feel like there's seasons where like balance looks different, but 100%, if you're just working nonstop and like not hanging out with your kids, right? Like that is definitely not even close to being balanced and like having to choose because that's what like a lot of moms are experiencing at their 9 to 5s and different things like that too. So, um, that makes total sense then as well. Of like, okay, and I see a lot of VAs do this too, where, and I think I've shared this even a couple weeks ago on one of the lives that I did, where there was this woman we were talking to, and she got to 3K on her own. And I'm like, okay, and in the DMs we're asking her like, what does your structure look like? How are you finding them? Very similar to what you were doing, not charging enough, not ideal clients, no boundary set up. And like, I told her this is what's going to happen. Basically, what happened with you. And nope, I got it. I don't need to invest, blah, blah, blah. And then this last winter, so it was like a year and a half later, she lost all of her clients and then she was starting all over again. I'm like, and then
Mm,
she really didn't have any money to invest. And
yeah.
so that's where it's like, even if you are able to get clients on your own, right? Like, that's awesome. It's rare, but that's fucking awesome. But like, also, too, it's not just going and landing a client for $300. It's like, okay, like what you were saying, does this client respect the
Mhm.
boundaries? Do they understand that I'm a mom as well too? Am I charging enough? Like all that good stuff. So, um, when you first got into REA, like what was like the number one, like kind of like aha moment or like life changing thing that you implemented where you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense of like why I was experiencing XYZ in my business before.
Yeah, I think the big thing that really changed my entire business and life or whatever with REA is that I realized that I was worth it and I knew what I was doing. I
Yeah.
I was offering these services for a reason, and I had had experience in the past, so I knew what I was doing. And instead of coming at people as like, "Oh, yeah, I may be able to help you," be like, "Here's what I know. Here's why I know it. Let me do it for you."
Yeah.
And it kind of made it easier to be like, "Yeah, here's what I charge. I charge my worth, and I'm not accepting anything less."
Yeah.
That was a big change for me because I had always kind of conformed to what they wanted. So they were like, "Oh, you're $30 an hour. I can only afford 20." I'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And now it's
Yeah.
like, actually, no. Here's what I'm charging. I'm not expecting anything less because you don't expect less from me.
Yeah.
Um,
And we actually had too, Emily, one of our other clients. I don't know if you were on that. I think it was the mindset call on Monday. Or no, it was during the 3 day challenge last week. She had muted and she was talking about that, where she actually had a woman do the same thing, like try and negotiate. And Emily reached out to her coach and she's like, what do I do? What do I say? And her coach was like, no,
yeah.
like hold your ground. Like this is what you're, and I think she was charging $30 an hour too or something. And so she did that. And then because I think a lot of times too, we think, we're just in that like place of desperation of like, I don't want to be rude or I don't want to be bitchy and this now client of hers came back to her and she's like, I love a woman that knows like what she wants and like the value that she can give me. And then she like went and hired her on. And I was like, that's amazing. But also, too, right? If she would have said no,
Mhm.
then Emily just knew at that point, like, that's not my ideal client because you're kind of starting. Did you notice that too? When, like, I always say if you lower your standards, like, you're setting a precedent, right?
Yeah.
So then it's kind of like, oh, I'm done working at 5 p.m. or, I'll respond to your Voxer message the next morning. And then it's like, well, just this one time I'll text you
Well,
after hours or whatever. Is that kind of what you experienced?
Well, I've noticed that the clients who want to haggle you or like you're not worth what I think you're worth are the clients who expect the most out of you. And they want more out of you, and they're the ones messaging you on the weekend, and the ones that are taking up your time and not respecting your boundaries. Where my clients now who are paying the higher rates, they're like, "Oh, after 3 you're done. So I'm not messaging you. I'm not talking to you. We'll talk tomorrow." Or they'll send me a message at night and they're like, "Do not respond. I just need to get this off my
Yeah.
mind." And they respect my time, they respect my family, they respect my world so much more than the clients who I was begging to be my client because
Yeah.
they thought they had so much control over you. And I'd always been told that, like, the clients who pay you less expect more out of you. And I
Yep.
never really realized it until I got to this point where I was like, I did so much for all those clients, and they would never would have paid me what I'm making now. Like, never
Yep.
would have even thought about it.
Oh, 100%. And I will say too, it's like universal because my fiance has like a landscape business. And that's where, like, his first year, he was doing what a lot, he didn't listen to me. Like, well, you don't have the same business. I'm like, it doesn't matter. So he would literally take on all these small ass projects or, well, I'll give you 500 for this instead. And he's like, okay. And he was overworked. He was burned out. And then the next year, I was like, so you can get clients. I'm like, quit lowering your standards. So like the next year, he had less clients, but he was making way more money because he wasn't just bringing on whoever. And he was also way happier. He was like, the people that have money, like, bitch, way less. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, I don't know why. It's just, I'm sure there's like some psychology thing, but I'm so glad that you're experiencing that too. Cause I know you said something about wanting a baby for, right? So I can imagine having, and you said you had your first baby in 2020. Yeah. So you've
Yeah.
got what, 3 under 4 years now?
Yep.
Yeah, and then adding another one in, right? Like your life is going to be crazy busy enough as it is. You don't need the added stress or
Mhm.
like having to work 24/7 or anything like that. So, yeah, do you kind of want to walk everyone through what that like restructuring look like? Obviously, higher packages, more high-end clients, but like how you were able, because I know everyone on here is like, how did she get to 10, almost 11K in like 12
Mhm.
weeks? So do you kind of like want to walk them through what that looked like?
Yeah, so I had always been pushing off social media in general. Um,
Mhm.
I didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
So then the first thing we were doing was creating Instagram and getting in there, like that stressed me out. I was like, I don't like followers. I don't like having to that. I don't even like doing social media for other people. Can't imagine doing it for myself. But I went in there, I made it, I trusted the
Wait,
process
you
because
listen to your coach?
I trusted what they were telling me. Um, and I started by following old clients who I actually had had good relationships with.
Yeah.
And then from there started following like people I knew who worked with them or people who were in the same group as them. Because I didn't leave any of my clients on a bad note, so they all were like willing to give me recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of used that to my advantage in a way,
Yeah.
but by getting on social media, I got myself seen and they kind of helped push that a little bit too. Um, and then people just started reaching out and starting those conversations, and a lot of mine was mindset. And Emily talked me through a lot of mindset problems and just being confident in myself and putting myself out there was a lot of it. Instead of being like, hey, here's my portfolio, be like, hey, here's me as a person. Here's
Yeah.
what I can do. Here's who I am. And it kind of changed my mindset of the whole business in general. Instead of it just being like statistics and on paper, it is a person. And we are like my team, we're all individuals, we're all people. We are all going to do what needs to be done for you, but we are people. We're not just paper.
Yeah.
And
I love
able
that.
to talk to other coaches about that too. And a lot of the time, I kind of sneak into their DMs right before they do a launch because they're always kind of stressed out then, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Help!" So I don't know if that's like bad or not, but I kind of watch it and I'm
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
think
you have
it's
a launch
bad.
coming
You're
up next
you're like,
week.
hey, I can help you. Like
Let's
that's
talk."
good.
Like let's talk about what are you stressed out about with this launch and um, use that stress to my advantage to be like, well, let me help with that. Let me get that done. Let's get that off your plate. Um, but I'm still not a fan of social media. My Instagram is not doing well. We're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah.
But it definitely has opened those doors and those conversations that I would have never had trying to cold email people.
Oh yeah. Well, and again too, like I think that's like the biggest difference of like kind of like the passive courses that you did versus like what we do. And Kira was even talking about this yesterday too, of like, um, the relationship building. Like that was my frustration at my 9 to 5, or when I was trying to find a 9 to 5 after college, is like you don't have enough experience. And I'm like, to me, it doesn't matter. Like even when I bring VAs on, I don't bring VAs on that like know the answer to everything. I bring VAs on that are like a cheerleader, like a team member. Like they want to see me succeed just as badly as I do. I always do that. But like also too, they're willing to figure it out with me. And that was like my frustration. It was like, if you guys just give me the chance, like I'm the hardest worker ever. And then, I mean, clearly, because look what I've built, right? But I think like that's the biggest mind shift too, like what you said, like not looking at statistics. Like obviously, right, you don't want to promise results that you can't give, which you obviously can. Or you want to still have your clients, but also too, it's the relationship building part instead of kind of just like judging a book by its cover. um
And that's something that I even tell them. I'm like, I might not know it all, but I know how to Google and I know how to figure it out. And
and
they
you have the
always
time
laugh
to
at
do
well,
it.
they always laugh at me. They're always like, "You're gonna Google it," and I was like, "Yes, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to figure out how other people did it, and then I'm going to do it myself to figure out how to do it correctly." Like,
Yep.
we're going to go through this process, and it's just being transparent that like I don't know everything, but I will figure it out for you. Like, let's do
Yep.
it together. We'll get through it.
100%. I was Googling and like I use my team as a resource too. I'm like, guys, I have to do a bunch of lives this week. I'm like, how do we do it? And my OBM like sent me the link and I was like, God damn, I gotta go on my phone. But like that's the thing too, right? Do I know every like up-to-date system?
Yeah.
Heck no, but that's not my zone of genius either. My zone of genius is like helping VAs get booked out and the marketing and getting the results and all that good stuff. So I think that's a really like humbling part too, is like I don't have all the answers, but like I'll work my ass off for
Yeah.
you to get you the results and like figure out the answers for you, kind of a thing. And going back to the social media part too, I remember I think Emily said you had like six, because I remember going to your Instagram too after, I think it was after you got to 5K.
Yeah.
And because we were saying like followers don't matter. I don't remember how many followers you had, like maybe 60.
I think only have like barely 60.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah, I'm
making,
struggling
are
there.
you still at like the 10K mark about? Yeah. And it's so funny. And you only had six posts up. I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, she only has six posts up. She has 60 followers and you got to 5K and now you're at 10K. So for those of you that are like, oh, followers, no, it doesn't matter. It's like what is behind, what's going on in the DMs behind the scenes
Yeah.
is what matters.
Yeah, it started with
Um,
conversations and just being organic about it. Like I remember with the other course that I did, they had the written out emails for you. So you just copy and pasted it in there and you send
ugh,
it off. And if you did that, like with how I'm doing it now, with going into social media and creating those conversations, if I started out every conversation with a pre like made message, I would get nowhere. Like
yep,
it's going in there and making that connection with them and just showing that they're a real person too, I think is a big thing.
yep,
Is like they're not just a coach. They are a person. They're a mom. They're,
yep.
all those other things and how does that relate to me? Because one of my clients, she's a Canva coach and she was like, I'm hiring you because you're a mom and you understand.
Oh,
And it was like, cool.
yeah. And at the end of the day, like we want someone that we can relate with. Like I did a happy hour team call with my team because I go on maternity leave. Like this is my last call until after baby. And we sat and we talked about life. And, some of us are single and some of us are married and some of us have kids and some of us don't have kids. But at the end of the day, right, it's like that, like basic like friendship now that we have. And every single person that I brought onto my team, it's like I relate to them in some way. So I think it's super important too. And also too, there's so many like I think the online space has a bad rap because it's like the MLMs or the pyramid schemes and stuff like that. And so even when people are like, well, what do you do? Like a lot of people, I live in a small town in Iowa. It's a farm town. People are like, what the fuck do you do? Like my grandpa asked me if I have a Ponzi scheme. I'm like, oh my God, because I don't call my team employees because I'm not their employer. They have their own business, but I say they're my team members. And that like throws people off. But that's what gives us the first bad taste in our mouth, right? Like a lot of times, sometimes when you like DM people, they already have this like guard up because of a bad experience they had with someone else. So
Yeah.
if you can personalize it or you can compliment them, or like I'll send videos sometimes or voice notes, they're like,
Hmm.
oh, you're a real person.
Yeah.
You're not just, again, copy and pasting and treating me like another number goes such a long way. So.
feel like the online world's very lonely anyway.
Mhm.
Like, even doing what I do, I have my team with me, but I still feel like some days I'm doing it by myself, or I feel like they might be feeling like they're doing it by themselves. So I reach out, I'm like, hey, can I help? Is there anything we're doing? Um, and so they want that same thing. They want that connection. They might be working with like clients all day, but they're still by themselves doing it. And
Yep.
so being that extra person and kind of just giving them the company sometimes. Sometimes I sit in on calls just so someone else is there with them, just in case someone doesn't show up.
Yep.
Like it's
I
just those
love
little
that.
steps just to give them that human touch.
Yep. And or like their VAs too. Like I brought on like a Facebook and ads manager this week and my OBM was on the call with me. And it's just so nice to like have like what you said, like have someone in the trenches. And I think too for a lot of new VAs that like don't even like, have a team or whatever yet. Like it's probably nice to have a coach in there with you that's like if you're in the DMs, like, oh, I need to vent or I need to cry or I need to like, I'm frustrated. Just like having someone there with you that actually understands like what you're doing. Like my fiance is great. He's amazing, but he does not
Yeah.
understand my
He has no
business.
idea.
Is that your husband? He's like, I don't really
Yeah,
get
he's like,
it.
I don't know what you do, but it's fine.
You're making 10K a month, so go you, right? Like, I don't care. That's hilarious. So do you want to tell everyone, because I know you're in Rebel Energy Academy 2.0, like now, well, technically 3.0, like we're kind of teaching you more advanced stuff just because again, you came into the entry level a little bit higher up than a lot of people. But yeah, do you want to share like about your agency and like kind of where you're at now?
Yeah. So there are four of us all together. No, five altogether, including me. There's five of us. Um, we have one person who just makes graphics and
Mhm.
she loves what she does. So she's a single mom too and stays at home. And then I think besides my sister, all of us are parents and living that life with our kids. And we are growing and thriving. I will say that they are not humbling me, but they're definitely pointing out my like, hey, I need more stuff, give me more stuff, or they're like, hey, this wasn't explained enough. They're keeping me on my toes and kind of helping me, because I was completely honest with them when I started that like I am not great at handing things over. I
Yeah.
am kind of a micromanager, so please stop me. And so I have loved being able to be like, hey, I have this project, do you have time for it? And just throwing it their way and letting it go. We are looking at signing more clients. I'm still talking to people, still, increasing. I want to be able to increase their hours if they want to.
Yep.
And my goal right now is to just sustain and grow and not let this drop because I have that slight fear now that before it was confident in myself, but now that I'm confident, it's confident that I can keep my business alive because it's not just me.
And you've got yeah, that's what I always say is like like we say like new level, new devil. So like, I can relate to that so much because I always say, I'm like, I've got 10 people like that are counting on me to like make this work, like my co-coaches, like I give them clients, like they're relying on this income that I am bringing to them.
Yeah.
So it's almost kind of more of like that responsibility where like before you're just letting yourself and maybe your family down if you don't make it. Now you're like, I've got like 4 other team members or 10 other team members that are counting on me as well too. And so it's kind of like what you said, like that mindset shift. But I will let you know too, Kaely, you'll get to that point where you're just like, my success is inevitable, where like you'll just know like where we're at. Like I know no matter what, we'll be around like the 60K a month mark because you'll get to that point of like you just know what your numbers need to be.
Mhm.
And it'll flow. So that's my piece of advice for you is just know every month that like you keep as long as you keep doing what you're doing, like your success will be inevitable and you'll
Yeah,
be
I'm
awesome.
excited about it, and I have loved the opportunity to grow like this.
Yeah.
because this wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't taken that extra step and agencyed out. Like I could not keep up with everything that they're doing. They're the
Yep.
they're the only reason that we're still going right now.
Yep. And you like respect them so like I like started crying with my team last night because it's like my last call with them and I'm like I know like I was like I know I'm acting like I'm dying or I'm leaving or selling my business, like I know I'll talk to you guys, but like I was like I'm so grateful because like with my last one I had like only 6 weeks maternity leave, which I ended up taking like an extra four, but it was
Yeah.
unpaid and it was so stressful and I'm like I would not be able to unplug and enjoy this my last baby if it wasn't for my team. And I know once you'll get pregnant with baby number four, you're gonna look at your team too and just be like, oh my gosh, like I'm just so grateful for them. So for those of you VAs right now where you're like not feeling what you had talked about, like that value that you can give, like this is the kind of value that we're talking about, right? And Kaylee, I'm sure too, like you feel like every penny that you're paying your team is like so worth it because
Mhm.
maybe you can unplug early. Or you said you're on vacation right now,
Yeah.
right? Are
Yeah.
you still working a little bit? Or are you like mostly? I feel bad that we scheduled this when you're on vacation.
No,
I didn't know
still
that.
I'm still working because I'm not on vacation. So I still jump on in the mornings, check in with them.
Yep.
But it's been a lot better because before when I have had clients, um, I've been on my computer all day, every day, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I know you guys want to go to dinner, but I'm not done.
Yep.
So now it's nice to be like, oh, let me jump on, let me check this, and then jump off. And they've kind of handled it. And I've even had a couple projects come up this week that were unplanned that they took over, did even like helped each other to finish. So it's been nice to be able to kind of step back
Like
and yeah,
experiencing
like
that freedom that we all want and
yeah.
where you were at, even like a couple years ago or last year and things where you don't have that freedom, like you don't want to be like yeah like be tied to your business. And so I have loved watching your journey, but like also too like I said I was like I think a lot of VAs were like well it's so easy to get to 10K. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, yes, we helped you do that, right? But also too, I think it's really important to like look at what you said, right? Like the prior experience. Like you already had prior clients, you were priorly booked out, like, but you did need to restructure in order to like have the freedom and like your dream business. But yeah, so what would you say to anyone right now that's kind of like where you are, where like you are struggling or and afraid to make like a big investment? Like what would you say for them if they're on the fence right now?
Yeah, so before I like started any of this, I could never get over 3K. And I was working all the time. And that's not the purpose of being a VA. That's not what you want for your business. So by investing in this, I was able to jump over that hump, get over that mark, and really be able to invest in myself and realize that like I can do this. I am worth it. Um, I can ask for money up front. That was always a
Yeah.
scary thing for me too, was to be like, pay me beforehand. But now it's like not a big deal. It's like I require payment beforehand. Sorry.
Mhm.
Like, um, but that sometimes is what would kind of screw me over hitting above that 3,000 was I would be like, oh, well, it's okay. You can pay me later. And then they'd be like, well, I only think you're worth this much. And they'd like cut me short. So then I'd get rid of them as a client, but still I'm short that month. And
And you put in all that
there,
time and effort and work.
yeah. And so it's having that mindset of you are in charge of this business and you have to be paid for it, whether they think you're worth it or not, because you are. Prove to them you are. Go
Yep.
get that money, have them pay you. I've had a couple clients where I've done like, you know what, I will show you in 2 months that I'm worth it. So we're gonna do a prepaid 2 months. By the end of it, you'll be like, wow. So
Yep.
like don't sell yourself short. That's the main thing is you will never get to that income you want if you're selling yourself short or you're not taking on what you deserve.
Yep. And you're allowing people to call the shots. Like I always use like Target. I'm like, do you go into Target and leave with, a bunch of stuff and then come back a month later after you've used it all and pay? Like, no, get paid up front. So same thing at like McDonald's drive through. You pay before before you get your food. And so again, if there is anyone that like has any objections about it, they're not going to be your ideal clients.
And that's okay. And I think that was something that was hard for me to do um, years ago was to be like, I don't think this is going to work.
Yep.
And I would sit there and complain to my family about a client and just be like, she wants this, this, and this all the time. She's texting me at 8 p.m.
Oh,
That's not what we agreed that I would do, yet here I am doing it because I was afraid to set those boundaries. But
yep.
also the realization that she wasn't my client. Like she was not meant to be with me. And that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay to be like, hey, we're not compatible. Sorry. This isn't gonna work.
Yep.
Because by leaving that spot open, you now can fill it with someone who will pay you what you're worth and respect you.
Those
Yeah.
dreamy clients. Yeah, there's people we talk to in the DMs. I'm like, I'm not vibing with them, or they're just like, I don't really know if I want to be a VA. Like, it's not my job to talk you into being a VA. Like, if you're ready to be a VA, let's go. But like, if you're like you know me, my dreaming clients, people like you, where it's like, I'll listen to my coach, I'll trust the process. And if you're not willing to do that, go find another VA coach, and that's totally okay, right? So I love that mindset shift of like that like desperation or like that scarcity to now you have this big abundance. There's 7 billion people out there, guys. I promise your dreamy clients are out there. Like, I promise they're not all a-holes that are like gonna want to pay you $10 an hour. I promise. Um,
Well,
yeah,
my
I love
favorite
it.
thing about REA in general was having that coach. And being a VA sometimes is lonely, just trying to figure it all out on your own. There's so many resources out there that are free, but yes, but they never really explain things to you. And so you're always Googling and trying to figure out what's next or how to make sure that you're doing this correctly or where do you go after you hit this point. And so being able to reach out to my coach and be like, hey, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep,
And just to have that extra person, it was like my little person in my pocket, like that just pull out and then ask questions to. Um,
yep,
and I definitely should have used Emily a lot more than I did because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I should have asked you this. Um, but she was always there to like listen to me rant when I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. Like I had a client who was starting to message me on the weekends, and so on Monday morning I'd be like, here's what happened, and I am just frustrated. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, but I don't know who else to like
if you're
yell at for
a
it.
verbal processor like me, I like I'll message my team like I just need to like bitch for a second, and they're like go for it, and then I get off my chest, and then you can like almost like enter the situation with like a different mindset because you've like processed that out.
Or I'd always start with a conversation, one of our messages to her. I'd be like, okay, so here's my question. So do you think I should do this, or do you have another suggestion?
Yeah, and it's so great too because I got like Emily's been doing this for 6 years, I think, about the same, I think a little bit longer than I have. So it's also too, it's like, why would you not want to reach out to someone
Mm,
that's already done it? And it's so mind blowing to me. But we have clients sometimes that are just like, no, I'm going to do it this way. And it's like, well, why did you join the program if you're not going to listen to your coach? Like, we're not telling you to do the wrong things. Like, we're trying to help you. But
yeah,
I'm stubborn too. Sometimes you just need to like kind of go through it by yourself. And then you're like, fuck, all right, quit being
yeah,
stubborn, swallow your pride, ask for help. But I love that you realized too that you should have utilized her more because like we tell you guys too all the time, we're like, blow that shit up. You're never annoying your coach. Like, we want you to utilize it. So I'm glad that you're utilizing her. But yeah, anything else that you want to add to anything, or um like a piece of advice that you want to give to anyone who's maybe struggling right now in their VA business like you were?
you can't grow if you don't want to, I guess is the way to put it. Like, I wanted to take the next step and figure out what I was missing, which is why I invested in REA, which is why I took the risk. And I would not be here. I feel like it's just been a couple months. Wow.
I know.
Where I'm at now, if I hadn't have taken that step and got the guidance that I needed,
Yeah.
because there's only so far you can go by yourself. Like,
Yeah. And some people it's like you where it's like 3K, and other people like me where I'm like I've only made like $500 my business. Like, I need someone. But yeah, you get to that point where you're just like fuck, I need to do something. I need to change something. So We've loved having you. I was super pumped when you were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do 2.0." I was like, "Yes!" Like, I can't wait to like help you get to like that 15K and that 20K and beyond. It's gonna be awesome. So, and I know you'll get there because you're a hard worker. So, I'll let you go so you can enjoy your vacation. But thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me and everybody. What's your handle too, so they can go follow you if they want to?
It's at Kane underscore creatives.
I'll tag you on. I'll
Yeah, I
tag you
was
on
like, why
Instagram too.
does that sound wrong? It sounds wrong now that I'm saying it.
Can you guys tell her she's like, I just don't like it. I do Instagram, but I don't like Instagram.
I'm there, but I might have to start handing that off to team.
Yeah, yeah. Here's some graphics. Go do it. I love it. Awesome. Well, enjoy your weekend and I'll talk to you soon, Kaely.
Yep, bye.
Bye.